I love Rodney so much. I love him so much. And I hate that all this is happening. And I love Tymeir so much. And I miss them both so much. And it's just terrible. I don't even know what to say. It's terrible. But that day was the worst day of my life. Because I knew that day I was losing both of my sons. I just can't live like this. And I know he did what he did, and he ruined my life. And he took Tymeir's life, and he ruined his own life. He's so young. And I just want to let him know that I love him. No matter what, I love him. And I miss him every day. I miss Tymeir every day. But that's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
To 23 years in prison. As part of a plea deal, the mother of both boys signed off on a lesser sentence. Normally, everyone, including the victim's family, needs to be aware of the plea deal. However, Tymeir's father said he never knew.
She should have never been able to sign off on something when she was the main person, the reason why my son is dead.
The father of the victim handed the judge the letter that he never got to read in court, wondering if it would have made a difference. In Cleveland, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
In the heart of Cleveland, Ohio, where the hum of city life masks the whispers of secrets and sorrows, a family gathering was meant to be a haven, a place of warmth, laughter, and shared memories. But on a fateful day in October 2023, the Dial family home became the backdrop for a tragedy that would shatter their world and leave a community grappling with the unthinkable. This is the harrowing tale of two brothers, Tymeir Dial and Rodney Curley, whose bond, forged in shared experiences and familial ties, was torn apart by a moment of irreversible violence. A story where love turned to rage, and a mother's worst nightmare unfolded before her eyes. Tymeir Dial, at 23 years old, was known among his peers and family as a devoted father and a beacon of positivity. His life, though not without its challenges, was marked by a commitment to his loved ones and a desire to build a better future. Friends described him as someone who could light up a room with his presence, always ready with a joke or a helping hand. Rodney Curley, for years Tymeir's junior, was navigating the tumultuous waters of adolescence and early adulthood. At 19, he was still finding his place in the world, influenced by the same environment that shaped his older brother. Those close to him saw potential, a young man with dreams yet to be realized. The Dial household, nestled near the 500 block of East 127th Street, was a place where family gathered, stories were shared, and bonds were strengthened. On October 3, 2023, it was no different. The family convened, perhaps to celebrate, to support, or simply to enjoy each other's company. Among them were Tymeir, Rodney, their mother Pinky Hale, and a young granddaughter, a symbol of the family's next generation. But as the day unfolded, undercurrents of tension began to surface. A verbal altercation erupted between the brothers. The reasons remain obscured by the fog of tragedy, but what is clear is that words escalated to actions with devastating consequences. In a moment that defies comprehension, Rodney drew a firearm and shot his brother multiple times. The bullet struck Tymeir in the upper back and head, wounds that would prove fatal. The act was not committed in isolation. It was witnessed by their mother, Pinky, who stood mere feet away, cradling her granddaughter. Imagine the horror of a mother watching one son take the life of another, powerless to intervene, her cries drowned by the echoes of gunfire. The sanctity of their home, once a refuge, was irrevocably violated. The aftermath was swift and chaotic. Rodney fled the scene, disappearing into the urban landscape of Cleveland. Law enforcement launched an immediate manhunt, their efforts fueled by the urgency of capturing a suspect whose actions had torn a family apart. On November 16, 2023, after weeks of searching, the Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force located Rodney, hiding in the basement of a residence on Rayburn Road. When confronted, he initially resisted, but upon the announcement of AK, 9 units impending deployment, he surrendered without further incident. The arrest brought a semblance of closure to a grieving family and a shocked community, but the wounds inflicted on that October day would linger, a stark reminder of how quickly life can unravel. As we delve deeper into this tragic narrative, we will explore the complexities of familial relationships, the psychological underpinnings of fraternal conflict, and the societal factors that can contribute to such devastating outcomes. Before we continue, if you find these stories compelling and believe in shedding light on the darker corners of human experience, please like, share, and subscribe to Sinister Tales. Your support enables us to continue bringing you these poignant narratives. Rodney's arrest marked the end of a harrowing chapter, but signaled the beginning of another, a legal journey that would seek to unravel the complexities of his actions and determine the consequences he would face. In the wake of a tragedy that left a family shattered and a community in mourning, the wheels of justice began to turn. The courtroom, a place where facts are dissected and verdicts rendered, became the stage for the next chapter in the harrowing tale of Tymeir Dial and Rodney Curley. Rodney Curley Jr., now 20 years old, stood before the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas, facing the consequences of his actions. The charges were grave: involuntary manslaughter, felonious assault, and aggravated menacing. As part of a plea agreement, 3 additional charges were dismissed, a legal strategy that often seeks to balance the interests of justice with the complexities of each case. The courtroom was filled with a palpable tension as family members, friends, and community members gathered to witness the proceedings. Among them was Pinky Hale, the mother who had endured the unimaginable, losing one son to violence and seeing another face the repercussions of that act. During the sentencing hearing, emotions ran high. Pinky addressed the court, her voice quivering with a mixture of sorrow and strength. She spoke of the pain of losing Tymeir, the memories that now served as both comfort and torment, and the hope that Rodney would find a path to redemption even as he faced the consequences of his actions. Judge Margaret Russo, presiding over the case, listened intently. The weight of the decision before her was immense. Balancing the severity of the crime with the circumstances surrounding it, she sentenced Rodney Curley Jr. to 23 years in prison, a term that reflected the gravity of the offense while acknowledging the complexities inherent in cases of familial violence. The sentence marked a somber milestone in a case that had captivated and devastated a community. It served as a reminder of the far-reaching consequences of violence and the enduring scars it leaves on families and neighborhoods. Beyond the confines of the courtroom, the community grappled with the broader implications of the tragedy. Conversations emerged about the importance of mental health support, conflict resolution, and the need for accessible resources to prevent such incidents. The case became a catalyst for dialogue, prompting introspection and a collective yearning for healing and prevention.
You're my homie. I don't want my guest eating on this installment. My track partner.
We having a baby. We're having a fucking baby.
Look at her. We boxed in, ain't we? When we die, they gonna put us next to each other.
As we reflect on the events that unfolded, we're reminded of the fragility of human relationships and the profound impact of our choices. The story of Tymeir and Rodney is a stark illustration of how quickly lives can be altered and the importance of addressing underlying issues before they escalate into irreversible actions. The prison doors have closed behind Rodney Curley Jr. The courtroom is now quiet. The headlines have faded. But for those left behind, those who wake up each morning with the echo of a brother's laugh missing from their home, or the shadow of a son lost to the justice system, this story is far from over. The house on East 121st Street in Cleveland, once a home full of life and noise, now carries the heavy silence of absence. Tymeir Dial is gone. Rodney Curley is incarcerated. And their mother, Pinky Hale, remains the solitary witness to the worst kind of heartbreak, watching one child destroy another. For Pinky, there are no winners in this story. She's spoken publicly about her pain. Not for attention, but to be a voice for other mothers, other families teetering on the edge of conflict. "We need to talk more," she said in a quiet interview months after the sentencing. "We need to listen before it's too late." Her granddaughter, Tymeir's daughter, is growing up in the aftermath. She's too young to remember the tragedy she witnessed, but the weight of that night hangs over her life like a shadow. A generation that never asked for this pain, now forced to grow up in its wake. But amid all the darkness, there are threads of hope. The community, shaken by the tragedy, has responded in small but meaningful ways. Outreach programs, anti-violence initiatives, and mental health resources have seen increased attention in Cleveland's East Side. Residents, activists, and city leaders are using this incident not as a headline to forget, but as a reason to act. Because the truth is, this story isn't unique. In cities across America, countless families quietly wrestle with internal tension, untreated trauma, and the pressure cooker conditions of poverty and generational pain. And when those tensions explode, the outcomes are often as tragic and as final as what happened between Tymeir and Rodney. The story of these two brothers is a warning. It's a mirror held up to society, revealing what can happen when communication breaks down, when anger goes unspoken, and when help is needed but never sought. It's a reminder of the terrifying speed at which life can change when a single decision turns a household into a crime scene. But it's also a call to action, a call to check in with loved ones, to speak up when something doesn't feel right, to seek help when emotions run too deep, and to remember that, sometimes, the most dangerous battles are fought not between enemies, but between those who once shared the same crib, the same dinners, the same dreams. As Tymeir is laid to rest, and Rodney begins his long sentence behind bars, their story becomes more than just a tragedy, it becomes a legacy. A painful one, yes, but also one that may help another family avoid the same fate. Thank you for watching Sinister Tales. If this story moved you, if it made you reflect or reach out to someone you care about, please like, share, and subscribe. We tell these stories not to exploit pain, but to understand it and to prevent it from repeating. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never underestimate the quiet storms brewing behind closed doors.